People think embarrassment is a small emotion, a quick blush, a short laugh, something you get over. But if you're the kind of person whose brain randomly replays an embarrassing moment from 5 years ago, at 2 a.m. in the shower, in the middle of a normal day, then you already know the truth. Embarrassment doesn't always leave when the moment ends. Sometimes it stays. Sometimes it returns like a flashback. Not because you're weak, not because you're dramatic, but because your brain flagged that moment as social danger and it's still trying to keep you safe. If you've ever had that sudden wave of cringe where your stomach drops, your chest tightens, and your mind goes, "Why did I do that?" This is for you. In this video, we're breaking down the psychology behind why your brain keeps pulling up embarrassing memories, why it happens more at night, why it hits harder when you're already stressed, and why you can't just stop thinking about it. And most importantly, you'll learn how to calm the loop without denial, without fake confidence, and without forcing yourself to move on. Because what most people don't realize is this: when your brain replays embarrassment, it's not just torturing you, it's trying to protect you. Humans are wired for belonging. Your nervous system treats social acceptance like safety, and social rejection like threat. Not logical threat, nervous system threat. Your brain evolved in a time where being rejected by the group could mean losing protection, losing food, losing survival. So even today when something embarrassing happens, your brain doesn't store it like a neutral memory. It stores it like a warning. And that warning sounds like, don't do that again. Don't be seen like that again. Don't risk that kind of pain again. This is why embarrassing memories feel sticky. Your brain is basically saying, this matters. Now, here's the part people misunderstand. When you replay embarrassing moments, you assume it's because you're insecure. But a lot of the time, you replay it because you're conscientious, because you care about impact, because you care about how you treat people, because you care about being perceived correctly. In other words, you replay it because you have a social brain that values connection. But the brain has a flaw. It doesn't just learn once. It loops. It replays the moment like it's training for a future emergency, like, next time, you'll be ready. So, what looks like self-torture is often your brain running a mental rehearsal. If I replay it enough, I'll never make that mistake again. That's the protection mechanism. But it has a cost. The cost is that you start living like you're always one mistake away from humiliation. Now, let's talk about why it feels so real even years later. One reason is that embarrassing memories are tied to shame. Embarrassment is usually, that was awkward. Shame is, that means there's something wrong with me. And the more that memory is linked to your identity, your intelligence, your attractiveness, your social worth, the more your brain treats it like a serious threat. That's why one person can laugh off the same mistake, and another person carries it for years, because the memory isn't just what happened. It becomes what it means about you. Now layer this with a psychological bias that makes it worse: the spotlight effect. The spotlight effect is the tendency to overestimate how much other people notice your mistakes and how much they remember them. Research by Gilovich, Medvec, and Savitsky showed people often believe they are being watched and judged more than they actually are. So, when your brain replays an embarrassing moment, it doesn't replay it realistically. It replays it as if everyone saw it, everyone judged it, and everyone still remembers it. Even if nobody cared, even if nobody noticed, even if everyone forgot within minutes. Your brain doesn't prioritize accuracy when it thinks it's preventing danger. It prioritizes avoidance. That's why embarrassment can slowly shape your personality. You become quieter. You become more controlled. You rehearse sentences before you speak. You avoid attention. You avoid risks. You avoid being fully yourself. And you might call it being introverted or private. But sometimes it's not personality. Sometimes it's protection. Now, here's another key piece. Why does this happen when you're doing nothing? Why do these memories jump out when you're finally quiet? Because when your mind isn't focused on an external task, it naturally turns inward. It starts reviewing your past, scanning your social safety, and replaying moments that feel unresolved. That's why these memories show up in the shower, in bed, on walks, or while staring at a wall. Silence creates space, and your brain fills that space with threat review. This also explains why it hits at night. At night, you have fewer distractions, less noise, more quiet, more space. And if your nervous system already associates silence with danger, your brain uses that space to pull up warning memories. Embarrassment is one of those. So, your brain goes, here's a moment where you were unsafe socially. Let's revisit it. Not because it hates you, because it thinks it's helping you. But help becomes harm when the replay turns into rumination. Here's how you know the difference. Healthy reflection creates clarity. It ends with, I learned something. I can move forward. Rumination creates looping tension. It ends with, I still feel unsafe. Rumination is not learning. It's punishment disguised as learning. And if you're someone who keeps remembering embarrassing moments, you might think the goal is to stop the memory, but that's not the real goal. The goal is to stop treating the memory like a current threat, because your brain is confusing a past social injury with a present danger. And until that changes, your body will keep reacting. That's why you can feel embarrassed even when you're alone. Your body is responding to the memory like it's happening now. If you relate to this, it doesn't mean you're broken. It often means you have a nervous system that learned to stay alert to social mistakes. It means you learned that being judged hurts, and your brain decided, I will prevent this at all costs. But prevention becomes a prison when it makes you afraid of being human. Because being human includes awkward moments. It includes mistakes. It includes saying something weird. It includes being misunderstood sometimes. And if you punish yourself for every moment you weren't perfect, you don't become safer. You become smaller. If this is describing you in a way that feels too accurate, subscribe to Unfelt. This channel is for people who overthink, carry silent shame, live inside their head, and want the truth underneath their patterns. And if you're comfortable, comment one word, cringe, because I want you to see how many people are living with the same internal loop. Now, here's where it gets even deeper. The reason some people get these cringe attacks more often is because their brain isn't only trying to protect them from embarrassment, it's trying to protect them from rejection. And that takes us to the next part. Why these memories become stronger in people who grew up with criticism, unpredictable moods, or emotional invalidation. And why some people learned early that making a mistake didn't just mean oops, it meant consequences. In section 2, I'm going to break down why perfectionism makes this loop worse, why reassurance doesn't fix it, and the practical steps to stop cringing at the past without suppressing it. Now we go deeper, because the truth is, your brain doesn't replay embarrassing moments just to remind you that you were awkward. It replays them to prevent something much bigger, rejection. When your brain sees an embarrassing moment, it often translates it into a social rule. If you do that again, you could lose connection. And the nervous system doesn't treat connection like a luxury. It treats it like survival. That's why the replay feels urgent. Your mind isn't simply remembering, it's scanning for patterns so you don't get hurt again. This is also why the loop is stronger in people who grew up with criticism, unstable caregivers, emotional unpredictability, or love that could be withdrawn. In those environments, mistakes didn't feel safe. A small slip didn't stay small. It turned into shame, punishment, teasing, or emotional distance. Over time, your brain learned that embarrassment isn't just uncomfortable, it's risky. So later, even in normal adult life, your nervous system reacts to a social mistake like it's a threat you must correct. And because you can't go back and correct the past, your brain tries the next best thing. It replays it until you feel ready enough to never repeat it. But ready never arrives, so the loop continues. And this is where perfectionism enters. Perfectionism isn't always pride. A lot of the time, perfectionism is fear in a clean outfit. It's the belief that if you can be flawless, you can be safe. So, when something embarrassing happens, your brain doesn't treat it like a normal human moment. It treats it like evidence that you were exposed, that you were seen too clearly, that you lost control. And perfectionism hates exposure. It hates unpredictability. It hates being human in public. So, it keeps reopening the memory, trying to fix the feeling by replaying it. But replaying doesn't fix it. It only deepens the shame. Here's another reason these memories haunt you: the spotlight effect. The spotlight effect is the tendency to overestimate how much other people notice your actions and appearance. Research by Gilovich, Medvec, and Savitsky, 2000, showed people commonly think others noticed their behavior more than they actually did. That matters because your brain uses this bias to intensify the memory. It replays the moment as if it happened on a stage, under bright lights, in front of an audience. But in reality, most people were focused on themselves. Most people forgot quickly. Most people didn't even store it as a meaningful event. Your brain did, they didn't. And the spotlight effect makes you believe the opposite. This is also why reassurance rarely fixes the loop. Someone can tell you, nobody remembers that. Someone can tell you, it wasn't a big deal, and you might even believe them logically. But your nervous system doesn't calm down from logic alone, because the loop isn't being run by logic. It's being run by fear, safety-seeking, and the body's threat response. Your mind isn't asking, was that rational? Your mind is asking, was that dangerous socially? That's why reassurance gives temporary relief, but the memory returns later. Because the deeper issue isn't information. The deeper issue is safety. So the goal is not to convince your brain that it wasn't embarrassing. The goal is to show your nervous system that the embarrassment is not happening now, and that you can survive the feeling without punishing yourself. This is where most people make a mistake. They try to delete the memory, but your brain doesn't need deletion. It needs integration. It needs to file that memory as past, not as ongoing threat. Let me give you a simple framework. When an embarrassing memory hits, 3 things happen fast. First, the image or moment appears. Second, your body reacts as if it's happening now. Heat, tension, cringe, stomach drop. Third, your mind adds a meaning statement, usually harsh, usually absolute. I'm so stupid. I'm so embarrassing. They must think I'm weird. That third part is what turns a memory into a wound. And if you can interrupt that meaning statement, you can stop the memory from becoming a full-body spiral. So, here are the practical steps to stop cringing at the past without suppressing it. These steps are designed for someone whose brain is fast, self-critical, and always scanning for social danger. Step 1. Stop calling it thinking and call it what it is, threat rehearsal. When your brain brings up the moment, label it. My brain is rehearsing a social threat. This instantly changes the relationship you have with the memory, because now it's not, I'm broken. It's, my nervous system learned to do this. That label matters. It takes the shame out of the experience. It also stops you from fusing with the thought. You're not the memory. You're not the cringe. You're noticing your brain running an old program. Step 2. Remove the second arrow. The first arrow is the memory itself. The second arrow is the self-attack. The second arrow sounds like, how could I be so stupid? Why am I like this? I ruin everything. That second arrow is optional. It feels automatic, but it's learned. And it's the part that keeps the loop alive. Because every time you self-attack, your brain receives confirmation that the event was dangerous. It goes, see, we were right to panic. We were right to replay. So, your task is not to stop the memory. Your task is to stop the self-punishment that follows it. Step 3. Reality check the spotlight effect with one question. If someone else did this, would I still remember it? Most of the time, the answer is no, because you don't store other people's awkward moments the way you store your own. And that's the point. Your brain believes the moment became permanent in other people's minds, but that's usually your anxiety talking. This is a powerful reframe because it moves you from everyone saw it to my brain is exaggerating attention. And that's exactly what the spotlight effect describes. You feeling more seen than you actually were. Step 4. Respond with a self-compassion line that doesn't feel fake. A lot of people fail at self-compassion because they try to jump straight into positivity. I'm amazing. I'm perfect. That doesn't work when your nervous system is activated. Instead, use neutral compassion. Something like, that was uncomfortable and I survived it. Or, I was human in public. Or, I don't have to punish myself to learn. These lines work because they don't deny reality. They reframe it. They teach your brain, this feeling is safe enough to be felt. Step 5. Change what the memory means. Your brain keeps replaying it because it believes it contains a lesson. So, give it a lesson on purpose in one sentence, not a spiral. One sentence. Example, next time I'll slow down before I speak. Or, next time I'll ask one question instead of trying to be funny. Or, next time I'll pause and breathe. That's it. then end it. The point is to give your brain closure. If you don't give it a lesson, it will keep replaying until it extracts one through pain. But if you give it a lesson calmly, you can stop the loop. Your mind learns, we got what we needed, we can move on. Step 6. Do not fix the past, repair the present. Most rumination is an attempt to control time. It's your brain trying to go back and rewrite the moment so you don't feel powerless. But you can't repair the past. You can only build safety now. So when the memory hits, redirect toward present action. Drink water, unclench your jaw, relax your shoulders, stand up, move your body, change your posture. This is not random, it's nervous system communication. You are telling your body, we are not there anymore. Your brain can't calm down if your body stays braced. Now, here's the part that will change everything if you practice it. The real reason embarrassment stays is because you treat it like proof that you're unsafe to be seen. But the cure is not becoming invisible. The cure is becoming more tolerant of being human in front of people. Because the more you avoid exposure, the more your brain thinks exposure is dangerous. Avoidance trains fear. That's why people who are haunted by embarrassing memories often become more self-conscious over time. Not because they are getting weaker, but because avoidance is strengthening the threat signal. So, you have to train the opposite, not with big dramatic exposure, with small controlled permission. Permission to be imperfect on purpose. Permission to not correct every sentence. Permission to let an awkward moment pass without chasing reassurance. Permission to let a text message be slightly imperfect. Permission to say, I don't know, without explaining yourself. Every time you allow small imperfection and nothing catastrophic happens, you are rewiring your brain's prediction. You are teaching your nervous system, I can survive being seen. That's real confidence, not loud confidence, nervous system confidence. And here's a crucial distinction. Your brain uses embarrassment to keep you safe, but it can accidentally turn safety into prison. When you're constantly scanning for how you might be judged, you don't become more socially skilled. You become more socially tense. And tension makes you less natural. It makes you more filtered. It makes you more rehearsed. And then you feel even more different. So the way out is not more control. The way out is more safety. That's why the healthiest people are not those who never get embarrassed. They're the ones who can feel embarrassment without building an identity around it. They can cringe and then move on. They can laugh and then return to presence. They can be imperfect without concluding they are unworthy. So, if you keep remembering embarrassing moments, I want you to hear this clearly. The memory is not proof you're broken. It's proof your brain learned to protect you through vigilance. It learned to prevent pain by replaying risk. But you don't need to be protected from your past forever. You only need to learn the new skill, feeling discomfort without self-punishment. If you want to test whether your loop is protection or self-attack, ask yourself one question the next time it happens. Is this making me safer or just smaller? Because protection that shrinks you is not protection, it's fear. And if this video describes you, I want you to do two things. First, comment one word, heal, just that. Because naming it is the first step out of shame. Second, subscribe to Unfelt if you want more videos on overthinking, shame loops, nervous system survival patterns, and the truth underneath your mind's habits. This channel is for people who carry quiet pain behind a functioning life. You're not weak. You're not too sensitive. You're someone with a brain that learned to survive social threat by remembering it. And now, your next chapter is learning how to let the past be past without needing to punish yourself to feel safe.